just you get to choose. Right? Like here's the scenario. The environment gives us something which can be perceived as negative, can be perceived as not working, can be perceived as problematic. The world's ending. But we get to choose to see it like that, or we get to choose to see it as an opportunity.
So clearly that it's my responsibility now to do that for other people. If I have information and, other people's success is my success and vice versa.
Because you know what? Like, the challenges or the roadblocks are the journey themselves.
There's no big things. It's all little things compounding on top of each other.
Hey, Coach, what is going on? What's on your mind today?
What's on my mind today is creating, being a creator. I don't think it's no longer good enough for me to just show up and to check a box, or even the coaching connections that I have. I feel like there's more value to be added with things that I create, and of course, there's no new thought, right? So it's a kind of a catch-22 there, but putting things into my words of how I see the world and the value that I can create from the sources that I've conglomerated together, I think would be a unique way to create content and add value to other people. So that's where my head is at today.
Back to the steps visual. Like you go up to the next foot, you go up to the next step, and once you arrive on that place, it's like, oh wow, this is new. This is a new place to play. And once you've moved around that place and I've got familiar with it, after a while, the exploration stops and you kind of get this sweet spot where it's just like, oh, I'm living in it's new enough, it feels good, but I know enough where I'm not, I figured out what's going on, so I know I can add value in a space. And then after a while, like the peak stops and it starts to go down the other side, right? Where you feel like you're not learning anything as much anymore or anything. And therefore the value that you're providing is diminishing and providing to you is diminishing, and therefore it's time for the new climb, like to go to that next step. And that creation of the step, I think, is what you're talking about. Because if you were like, okay, I think about the artistry of that, right? The creation is like, if I'm painting a picture, it's like I'm learning how to draw a chair. And once you've learned how to draw the chair, it's still valuable for people who want pictures of chairs. After a while, you've just drawn so many chairs that for you, it loses its value. Even though people still want and need pictures of chairs, it comes a time where it's like, I don't want to draw as many pictures of chairs. And I really want to start drawing pictures of tables and chairs and part of a living room on the side. And like, that's my challenge, right? Like but I still got to draw the chairs just enough so I can have enough space and freedom to go to the creation of drawing the chairs and the table and the living room on the side. You follow that? Does that resonate for you?
Yeah. With both of those analogies combined, so the step imagery and then tables and chairs. Yeah, I got it. I'm with you. I think, to think about drawing tables and chairs together in the beginning, right? That might have been overwhelming. But once I got to that place of rhythm where I could draw the chairs, then it was like, okay, this is the next natural evolution in the process.
Yeah, exactly. This is the next step up, and now I get to do that. And it's knowing when to start as well, because if you keep just drawing the chairs, it will come to a place where you start to resent the chairs. It'll be too much. And that's why I think that's the next step of moving on, right? But you can't just be like, I don't want to draw chairs anymore. It's got to be, you got to know that it's the table and the chairs and the living room.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought of it like that, with that I am creating, but my creation is, it's just, even the creation part has gotten to the point of just running through the motions. So there's an evolution of another form of creating, and that's what I'm exploring today.
Yeah, because if you think back to the mind scan, and for those of you who don't know the mind scan, 3 ways of patterns of thinking: people, action, and systems. High level, when nothing exists, you need the right people around you. So that's pattern number 1. Pattern number 2 is action. And that's really also creation, right? So action is making something happen, putting something into life. And you take enough action, a couple of things happen. Either that action snowballs into something which you can't manage by yourself because there's just so much of it. In which case, you need to then lean into the third pattern, which is the systems, processes, delegation, automation, uh, or the thing that you're doing on a repetitive basis and the action you get bored with. So it becomes too much, it's overwhelming, or you just get bored with it. Then either way, you need to lean to the system in order to put. So it's like you're holding a desk up. We're back to the analogy of if you're holding a desk up by yourself, you might be able to hold it, but if you let go of it, the desk drops to the floor. But you also can't do anything else because you want it up. You need that to go to the next place. So what you need is to be able to like kind of balance it on one arm and push something else underneath it. So it's being held up by something else, so you can go do something else. And then every time you're building on it, right, that's the key part of it. It's like, how do you hold up what you've got already? Because it feels like, if you have to drop the thing that you've got to go lift something else up, then you're almost back to square one because the thing you spent a lot of time doing doesn't exist anymore. So it's like, well, how do you look at, your coaching practice, put a block underneath the desk that you've held up there, but not just to do that, but to go, okay, where am I going? Where's the new desk I want to hold up? So many mixed analogies today, Coach.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I believe it is if it's possible for that thing to come hold up the desk in my coaching analogy naturally, like it's there. It's not in the place where I can't be not present, at least not yet. But it automatically gets to that place where okay, like it feels like it's held up. I don't have to prep as much. There's not as much post time.
Yeah.
Right. So it's being propped up just naturally by way of repetition. So now it becomes, okay, like now that that's propped up, that's where I am today, right? Like I want to go create more. And I wonder what
Yeah.
that itch is. Like that's my point of curiosity today is, I think it's so interesting that, like you're saying, no matter what we do, even if it's exciting to us at first, it gets old, it gets stale. And so there's this constant drive to keep creating, and not just creating in a repetitive way, but keep creating in new ways. And that's what, that's what gets me excited today is like, I'm not sure what that is yet, but I know that I want to create more and, in terms of more value for my clients, people I can connect with, the prospects I might engage with, just being excited about that new space and then knowing that I'll have to pick something and make a decision.
Yeah. Well, it's back to you've got either it grows or it dies. And if you're not, even if you're painting the same picture every day, there needs to be some sort of nuance. But it works. It works across different categories or at least subcategories of the same area. You could still draw the same picture, draw the same picture, draw the same picture. But if you know that once you've drawn that picture a certain amount of times that day, you get to go draw a completely different picture. It creates more spice in your overall life, and that's the variety of life, right? And then therefore doing the thing, just the thing that used to be just enough now becomes something that you need a different approach for. And what you find is that as you open up things in other parts of your life, coming back to that initial thing, now you've in a sense taken a break from it becomes more special again. You look at it in a different way because you've done things differently. You have a different perspective. You come back to it, you're a different person. And then you can add things to that initial picture you didn't think of before. So again, it's a hero's journey, mini hero's journey.
What barriers might I consider at this point in the journey I've shared so far? Like what am I about to get into over these next couple of weeks as I dive more deeply into this? Or maybe another way to ask that is, what can I expect? What's going to happen here?
Yeah, well, a lot of resistance for a start, and what's the guiding light is that whatever you resist persists, right? And so wherever you get the most resistance is to lean into that with like some space and some grace, and just to be curious about that place. And so know that resistance is going to turn into opportunity, but that's where it is. It's not to ignore that; it's to lean into that space wherever it feels most awkward, wherever there's most resistance, there's the most potential upside. And let that guide you to where you want to go to create the magic in your business this year.
I'm looking forward to it. I feel like I think when you're ready to set the desk down onto whatever's propping it up. right? And I feel like I'm ready. I'm at that point now, and I'm excited. I'm excited, but there's also, like you're saying, there is some resistance already. So I'm looking forward to just plowing forward, breaking some of those barriers down, and seeing where it leads me here.
Give us some action points to take away here, Coach. Right. So we've got overall creation. We've got the art of our practice, and it doesn't have to be coaching. Anything, it could be anything, right? If you're in a service business or you're in a productized industry, virtual, brick and mortar, it doesn't matter what it is. There's always going to be an art part of your business. In fact, if you think about it, there's always that artist in a business. There's the manager in a business. There's the entrepreneur in a business. If you want to break, those are the three real categories, and we're all of those, but we tend to kind of lean in to one more than the others. What would you say for you if you were to break this down into steps, right? So this is perhaps a push for you right now, Coach Josh, to using yourself as an example. How might you coach someone, putting yourself as the third person here? What's the advice that you would coach someone in your position? What would be the top three things that you would share as approaches?
Number one, first and foremost, would be start somewhere. And I have some thoughts of where I would or could start. You said three. You're looking for three things here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, start somewhere. 1B, or we might call this 2, is like, what are those action items? Actually identifying those, like, what am I committed to? 2 might be thinking of what is the guiding light? Like, how am I going to know that what I'm about to create is in alignment with my higher purpose and my goals, what's driving me forward? And then 3 might be seeking out other models of success. Who else out there might have been in a similar situation or has created something that resonates with me that I could put my own style, my own version on, and I can look at that as a model, but also put my own Joshness into it.
Joshness, that's awesome. All right, so let me recap that, see if I got it right, and I'll add some more stuff into that, do some nickness into it as well. Number one, start somewhere, right? You've got, my mind is, you've got to go to the creation. You've got to actually start with an action to create something new in the world. Once something's created, then it has a pull, it has a gravity, but it doesn't have anything until you create it. So do something, right? Start somewhere. And then the B of that is that get it all out, get all those opportunities that are in your mind out on paper. Anything important is done on paper, has to be out your head. And then 2 is, where's the guiding light? Like, why are you actually doing any of this stuff? Zoom out enough that you can see a bigger picture of where am I actually going here. And thirdly, success leaves clues. Where are the other people or situations that you could look to here that you could go towards? Where has the path been blazed everywhere else that you can not follow verbatim, but to pick and go, okay, this could be part of my path overall. How's that feel, Coach?
It feels clear about how to move forward. I'm excited about that. Whereas, 10 minutes ago, I didn't have that clarity.
Clarity is power. All right, very good. Awesome stuff, Coach. Appreciate you.
A whole bunch of nickness and Joshness on today's episode.
There you go. Plenty of that.
See you next time.
Thank you for watching another episode of Truth Seekers. We appreciate your interaction. So please comment, like, subscribe to YouTube, Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want more, check out some of our links. Links to our masterclass, The Achiever's Mindset, and come join our LinkedIn group. And what do you want to see more of? Remember, we're here to share the simple secrets of successful. So help us do that. What do you want to see? What do you want to see more of? Thanks, and see you again next time.